Have you ever noticed how, even when you think you're eating healthy, you still wake up with aching legs, swollen joints, or that stubborn stiffness that just won't go away? You stay active, drink plenty of water, and start your day with eggs, yet the discomfort lingers. What's really happening here? For many seniors, the issue isn't just what you eat, but how you combine your foods. Some everyday pairings, especially with eggs, may be silently fueling inflammation and leg pain without you realizing it. In this video, we'll uncover 6 foods you should never combine with eggs and reveal simple, delicious swaps that keep your breakfasts nourishing and your body strong so you can move freely and live with ease. Let's start with one of the most common and most deceptive culprits: processed meats. Bacon, sausage, and ham have been breakfast staples for generations. For many older Americans, the smell of sizzling bacon or the comforting taste of eggs alongside a slice of ham isn't just about food. It's a ritual, a piece of nostalgia that signals the start of a good morning. But what if this beloved pairing has been quietly working against your health all along? Think back to family breakfasts, weekend brunches, or those simpler mornings when health was the last thing on your mind. But what if that comforting plate of eggs and bacon, so deeply tied to your memories, is now silently working against you? What if those very foods, like sausage, ham, and bacon, are fueling the leg pain, swelling, and stiffness that make even small movements feel like a chore? Processed meats have long been a breakfast favorite, but for older adults, they come with a serious hidden cost. These foods are packed with sodium, nitrates, preservatives, and saturated fats, ingredients that may boost flavor but slowly damage your body over time. For years, experts have warned that these compounds clog arteries and strain the heart, but their harm runs deeper than that. They are also major drivers of inflammation, a problem that becomes even more dangerous after age 60. As the liver and kidneys lose efficiency, toxins linger longer in the bloodstream, settling in the joints and muscles, especially in the lower body, where blood flow is already slower with age. The sodium in these meats traps water in your tissues, causing swelling that presses against nerves, creating that familiar, dull ache you feel in your legs and knees. Nitrates and preservatives in processed meats don't just add flavor, they irritate tissues, triggering immune reactions that show up as redness, heat, and pain. Saturated fats make things worse by fueling the body's production of pro-inflammatory molecules, trapping you in a constant state of low-grade inflammation. Over time, this silent stress erodes cartilage, stiffens tendons, and weakens muscles, turning mild discomfort into a lasting obstacle to movement. Now, think about the eggs that often share your plate with those meats. On their own, eggs are a nutritional powerhouse, rich in protein, healthy fats, and key vitamins like B12 and choline. But when combined with processed meats, something changes. Eggs contain sulfur-based amino acids, such as methionine and cysteine, which are perfectly harmless in moderation. Yet, when these compounds mix with nitrates and preservatives from bacon, sausage, or ham, they trigger subtle metabolic reactions that can raise uric acid levels in the blood. As we age, the kidneys become less efficient at clearing this crystalline waste product, allowing it to build up and cause trouble. Elevated uric acid is a major culprit behind gout, a painful form of arthritis known for sudden, throbbing inflammation in the feet, ankles, and knees. You might not notice the connection right away, but when that familiar stiffness or leg heaviness hits hours after breakfast, it may not just be fatigue. It could be your body reacting to what was on your plate that morning. You might shrug it off as just another part of getting older, not realizing that your morning plate could be the real trigger. But the effects go far beyond discomfort. This hidden inflammation can slowly steal your mobility, making it harder to walk to the mailbox, tend your garden, or play with your grandchildren. And when movement declines, the risk of falls increases, one of the leading causes of injury among older adults. The pain doesn't just weigh on your body, It chips away at your patience, your mood, and your hard-earned sense of independence. Yet, the story doesn't end with meat and eggs. Think about that simple slice of toast, bagel, or biscuit you've been pairing with breakfast for years. Those refined carbs, stripped of fiber and nutrients, are not as innocent as they seem. Once digested, they send your blood sugar soaring, forcing your body to release insulin and other hormones that, over time, stoke inflammation even further. Combine that with the saturated fat from sausage or the sodium from ham, and you have a perfect storm brewing in your body, one that hits your joints the hardest. Even that small pat of butter or spoonful of jam adds to the problem, layering on more sugar and unhealthy fats. Bite by bite, year after year, these habits quietly rob you of strength and freedom. The simple joy of standing tall, walking comfortably, or moving without wincing becomes a memory. Lost not to age, but to the choices sitting on your breakfast plate. As the bacon sizzles and that sausage link tempts you, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, are those few minutes of smoky, salty satisfaction worth the hours or even days of discomfort that may follow? Could swapping that strip of bacon for a handful of berries, or replacing the sausage with creamy avocado, give your body the relief it's been silently craving? Your joints, your legs, and your future self might thank you for it. Now let's talk about another hidden culprit: refined carbohydrates like white bread, bagels, and muffins. There's no denying the comfort they bring. The crisp edge of a warm toast covered in butter, the chewy bite of a bagel, or the soft sweetness of a muffin beside your morning eggs. For many, these foods are tied to family breakfasts, peaceful mornings, and memories of home. But as we age, our bodies change, and it's crucial to look past nostalgia and see what's really happening. What feels like a harmless indulgence may actually be quietly draining your energy and weakening your legs and joints. Refined carbs such as white bread, bagels, and muffins go through heavy processing that strips away their fiber, vitamins, and minerals, leaving behind little more than starch. Unlike whole grains, which release energy gradually, these foods cause sharp blood sugar spikes that can fuel inflammation and fatigue over time. These refined carbs are quickly broken down into simple sugars, sending your blood glucose soaring within minutes. It's like a roller coaster for your metabolism. In response, your immune system mistakes this sudden surge of sugar for a threat, releasing inflammatory messengers meant to protect you. But over time, those messengers don't disappear. They linger, slowly eroding the soft tissues that cushion your joints, especially in areas that bear weight like the knees, ankles, and feet. For older adults, this process becomes even more harmful. As we age, our circulation and metabolism naturally slow, making it harder for the body to manage these spikes effectively. What might have been a brief discomfort in youth can evolve into a constant struggle in later years. The inflammation triggered by refined carbs doesn't just flare up and fade away. It lingers, turning into a chronic, low-grade burn that affects mobility and comfort. This hidden inflammation often settles in the legs, showing up as stiffness, swelling, or that deep, persistent ache that makes every step feel heavier than the last. Energy levels drop, and even simple movements can feel exhausting. For anyone already dealing with arthritis or weakened cartilage, these effects multiply, quietly transforming a once comforting breakfast ritual into a daily source of strain. When you pair eggs with refined carbs, things take a turn. On their own, eggs are a powerhouse, rich in protein, healthy fats, and vital nutrients. But when combined with white bread or a bagel, the balance shifts dramatically. The slow digesting nature of eggs clashes with the quick sugar release from refined carbs, creating a digestive storm. Your body struggles to process this mismatch, slowing digestion and triggering the buildup of inflammatory compounds in the gut. These compounds don't stay there for long. They enter the bloodstream, traveling through the body, and often settling in the joints. The knees, already burdened by years of wear and tear, take the hardest hit. By midday, stiffness creeps in. By evening, your feet may swell. the skin tight and sore to the touch. It's sobering to think that the soft slice of white toast or that comforting bagel could be the hidden source of your morning aches. Perhaps that stiffness and fatigue you've come to accept as just aging are really your body's way of pleading for change. The swelling in your ankles, the creak in your knees, even the heaviness in your legs, all could trace back to what's on your plate. And when refined carbs already set the stage for inflammation, adding another layer, like a tempting blanket of melted cheese over your eggs, might be pushing your body past its limit. What seems like the perfect breakfast could quietly be tipping the scale from comfort to chronic pain. Before reaching for the grater, it's worth asking, does that sprinkle of cheese come with a hidden cost to your body's delicate balance? Cheese, especially when melted to perfection over a fluffy omelet or mixed into creamy scrambled eggs, has an undeniable charm. The way it stretches and clings with each bite feels indulgent, a small morning reward. For many older adults, cheese is more than food, it's comfort. It recalls family breakfasts, cozy dinners, and the warmth of simpler times when eating was pure joy, not something to worry about. But beneath that comforting image lies a quiet threat. Processed or melted cheese could be undermining your health, fueling the stiffness, swelling, and aches that follow you through the day. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to inflammation, the silent force behind many chronic conditions. What once felt harmless can slowly become a hidden trigger. Modern processed cheeses, the kind that come in neatly packaged slices or ready-to-melt shreds, are far from the wholesome dairy of the past. They're loaded with inflammatory agents, saturated fats, emulsifiers, preservatives, and a milk protein called casein. For adults over 60, whose gut health and immune systems naturally weaken with time, these ingredients act like small sparks, igniting a slow, steady fire of inflammation. It often settles in the joints and muscles, particularly in the lower body, where mobility is already more fragile. The science behind this is both fascinating and frustrating. Casein, a complex protein found in cheese, is one that many aging digestive systems struggle to fully break down. When undigested fragments slip through a weakened gut lining, a condition known as leaky gut, which becomes more common with age, they can enter the bloodstream and trigger an immune response. This reaction doesn't always show up dramatically. Instead, it simmers quietly, showing up as swelling in the knees, a dull ache in the calves, or a tightness in the ankles that seems to appear for no reason. Add to that the saturated fats in cheese, which stimulate the body to produce pro-inflammatory compounds called cytokines, and you've created a perfect recipe for discomfort. The effects may not strike immediately after eating, but often creep in hours later, or greet you first thing in the morning with stiffness and fatigue. Now, combine that cheese with eggs, a nutrient-dense food that, though healthy on its own, can become heavy when paired with dairy. Together, they create a meal that's rich in flavor, but taxing on an aging digestive system. As we get older, our stomach produces fewer digestive enzymes and acids, and the intestines lose some of their efficiency. What once passed through easily now lingers, fermenting and overworking the system. This slow digestion does more than cause bloating or fatigue. It fuels inflammation throughout the body. The result? Joints that creak like old floorboards, muscles that ache with every step, and legs that no longer feel steady and strong. It's more than just discomfort. It's a quiet thief, stealing away the freedom to move with ease. When every step comes with a twinge or a wince, the simple joys of life begin to fade. Walking to the mailbox feels like a calculated effort. Gardening turns into a distant memory, and even standing long enough to cook a meal can seem like a daunting task. Over time, this constant discomfort doesn't just limit your mobility. It slowly chips away at your confidence and independence, the true pillars of a fulfilling later life. What makes it even more disheartening is how deceptively small the source can be. That slice of processed cheddar or the dollop of melted mozzarella that seems so harmless on your breakfast plate might actually be undermining your vitality. And cheese isn't the only quiet offender hiding in plain sight. Even certain vegetables, those long celebrated as symbols of health and balance, can harbor compounds that subtly contribute to joint pain and stiffness. It's a surprising truth, isn't it? The very foods you've trusted to nourish your body may sometimes work against it. The breakfast table, it turns out, can become a silent battleground, where comfort and consequence collide. But understanding these hidden culprits is the key to reclaiming your strength, mobility, and the freedom to move through life with ease once again. Conventional wisdom tells us that vegetables are nature's medicine, rich in vitamins, minerals, and fiber that keep the body strong and disease at bay. And that's true, for the most part. But as we age, when our joints begin to stiffen and our bodies bear the marks of time, not every vegetable remains the friend it once was. For older adults dealing with joint pain, arthritis, or those mysterious aches that seem to settle deep in the bones, some vegetables can quietly work against your health rather than for it. Enter the nightshades, a colorful family of foods that appear harmless and wholesome. Tomatoes, bell peppers, white potatoes, eggplants, and even that pinch of chili pepper so many love, all are staples on countless breakfast tables. Imagine a fluffy omelet speckled with diced tomatoes and sautéed bell peppers, a side of golden roasted potatoes, maybe even a slice of grilled eggplant. It sounds like the perfect hearty meal. But hidden within these familiar favorites lies a surprising secret. These vibrant foods contain a natural chemical compound known as solanine, along with other alkaloids. They're not man-made additives, but part of the plant's built-in defense system, nature's way of keeping pests at bay. For most people, small amounts of solanine are harmless, easily processed and eliminated by the body. Yet for aging adults, whose systems have grown more sensitive over the years, these compounds can quietly stir up inflammation, amplifying stiffness and joint discomfort that many mistakenly blame solely on age. In our younger years, a strong metabolism and efficient organs easily handle natural compounds like solanine. But as we age, the body's filters, especially the liver and kidneys, gradually lose some of their efficiency. They no longer flush out these substances as quickly as they once did, particularly if there's already mild organ decline or past damage. For some people, this slowdown allows solanine to linger, settling quietly into soft tissues such as muscles, tendons, and the delicate linings of the joints. What follows can be a chain reaction of discomfort, especially for those with an unrecognized sensitivity to nightshades. Solanine can interfere with nerve signaling, disrupting the fine-tuned communication between muscles and joints. Even more concerning, it has been linked to heightened inflammation, the kind that magnifies stiffness and pain over time. Picture this. You wake up expecting to feel rested, but instead your legs feel heavy, your knees resist bending, and your feet ache with a dull burn that seems to appear out of nowhere. You might blame it on aging or a bad night's sleep, yet the real culprit could be sitting on your plate. The tomatoes in your omelet, the roasted potatoes on the side, or the peppers you added for flavor. The symptoms can start subtly: morning stiffness that lasts a little longer, swelling that flares up with weather changes, or a persistent ache that feels like arthritis or nerve pain. Over months or years, this quiet inflammation chips away at mobility and comfort, all stemming from foods once thought to be perfectly harmless. That burning sensation that creeps through your legs and feet, making every step feel heavier than the last, can be deeply frustrating. What's even more disheartening is how easily these symptoms are mistaken for the natural effects of aging. Many seniors simply accept the pain as inevitable, never suspecting that the real culprit could be sitting right on their breakfast plate. Nightshade vegetables often share the spotlight with eggs, a pairing that seems perfectly healthy at first glance. Eggs, praised for their protein and healthy fats, blend beautifully with diced tomatoes or a side of golden hash browns. It looks like a balanced, colorful meal. Yet for those sensitive to nightshades, this seemingly wholesome combination can quietly turn into a recipe for inflammation. As the body ages, It naturally wrestles with stiffness, worn cartilage, and an overactive immune response. Add solanine from nightshades into the mix, and it's like pouring fuel on a low, steady flame. The inflammation intensifies, spreading through joints and muscles, transforming a nourishing breakfast into a silent trigger for chronic pain. The tricky part is the delay. You might enjoy your eggs and tomatoes in the morning, only to feel the ache settle in by evening. Or perhaps your knees tighten the day after a hearty potato dish. The cause and effect are subtle, easy to miss, but your body never lies. If you've been struggling with unexplained joint stiffness or persistent leg pain, it might be time to look closer at what's really on your plate. Even when you're doing your best to eat healthy, stubborn swelling and joint pain can still persist. If that sounds familiar, it might be time to take a closer look at your vegetables. Nightshades, those colorful staples like tomatoes, peppers, and potatoes, can sometimes act as hidden culprits, disguising themselves as healthy friends while quietly fueling inflammation in aging joints. But the story doesn't end there. Nightshades aren't the only silent offenders on your plate. The real surprise often comes from the sweet little additions we've come to love. The spoonful of jam on toast, the drizzle of ketchup on eggs, or that morning glass of fruit juice we believe is good for us. These sugary companions, while comforting and familiar, can work hand in hand with inflammatory foods to amplify pain and stiffness in ways few realize. Take a moment to think about your morning routine. A glossy layer of strawberry jam shining on warm toast, a touch of ketchup adding zest to scrambled eggs, or the refreshing sweetness of orange juice poured into your favorite glass. All evoke memories of comfort and simplicity. For many, these are the flavors of nostalgia, small morning rewards after years of discipline and hard work. Yet, beneath that sweetness lies something far less innocent, a hidden strain on your body that builds slowly, one bite at a time. At first glance, a teaspoon of jam or a small splash of juice may seem harmless, too insignificant to cause trouble. But for aging bodies, these sweet little habits often carry a hidden cost. The effects don't always show up in blood test numbers alone. They slowly reveal themselves through stiffness, swelling, and discomfort, especially in the legs and joints. As we age, the body's ability to manage sugar quietly declines. The pancreas, once efficient at producing insulin, begins to lose its strength, while our cells grow less responsive to insulin's signals, a condition known as insulin resistance. This leaves excess glucose circulating in the bloodstream far longer than it should. Even for those without diabetes, this shift makes sugar harder to process, turning what once felt like a harmless indulgence into a silent fuel for inflammation and nerve irritation. When sugar from jam, juice, or even a squeeze of ketchup enters the bloodstream, glucose levels spike. The body releases insulin to manage it, but with age, the process becomes sluggish. The leftover sugar doesn't disappear, it lingers, damaging tissues from within. One of its most harmful effects is chronic inflammation, a slow-burning fire that attacks joints, blood vessels, and nerves. Over time, this leads to glycation, a process where sugar molecules bind to proteins, forming sticky, destructive compounds that weaken the body from the inside out. This process, known as the formation of advanced glycation end products, often called AGEs, brings anything but sweetness to the body. These sticky compounds stiffen connective tissues, wear down the cartilage that cushions your joints, and restrict blood flow, especially to the legs and feet. The effects creep in quietly. You might not immediately connect the teaspoon of jam you enjoyed at breakfast with the faint tingling in your toes that afternoon, or the burning in your calves after a short walk. The stiffness in your knees, the dull ache in your hips, all seem like normal signs of aging, but the truth runs deeper. The body keeps a precise record of everything you eat, and sugar's toll accumulates over time. For seniors, especially those dealing with diabetes, prediabetes, or poor circulation, sugar shifts from a source of comfort to a hidden enemy. It slows healing, weakens immune defenses, and prolongs recovery from even minor injuries. What starts as a mild ache can grow into persistent pain that limits movement and independence. That innocent glass of sweetened tea or biscuit spread with jam doesn't just spike blood sugar, it triggers a chain reaction that quietly threatens your mobility. The legs, your foundation for living freely, suffer the most. Poor circulation deprives tissues of oxygen, nerves grow overly sensitive or numb, and joints begin to wear down. Bit by bit, the sweet habits that once brought pleasure may be stealing away the very freedom to move without pain. Beneath the surface of inflammation and glycation lies a grim truth. What starts as a harmless indulgence can, over time, lead to serious consequences, even mobility loss that forces reliance on a cane or wheelchair. Few would ever suspect that a sweetened drink or a simple condiment could have such a profound impact on long-term health. Yet, sugar isn't the only silent threat waiting at the breakfast table. In the pursuit of healthier choices, many unknowingly trade one problem for another. Take that butter substitute you proudly switched to, marketed as heart-friendly and low in saturated fat. It sounds like the smarter option, doesn't it? But the reality is more troubling. These modern spreads are often filled with processed oils, trans fats, and chemical additives that quietly inflame the body from within. What was meant to protect your heart may instead be amplifying pain and stiffness in your joints. The breakfast table, once a place of comfort, has become a minefield of good intentions gone astray, where even the smallest choices can carry heavy consequences for aging bodies. For decades, margarine and artificial butter substitutes were celebrated as the enlightened choice, the modern alternative to butter. Picture it. Kitchens across America in the 1970s and 80s, where well-meaning families replaced their golden butter with tubs of factory-made spread, believing they were protecting their hearts. It was the promise of progress, a product wrapped in science and trust. Yet, as time would reveal, that trust came at a quiet, painful cost. Over the years, what began as a health-conscious shift has revealed a very different reality. Research has peeled back the glossy marketing promises, exposing a harsh truth. Margarine, especially the varieties packed with hydrogenated oils and trans fats, may be one of the most dangerous choices hiding on your breakfast plate. And when combined with something as innocent as scrambled eggs, the harm can quietly multiply. As we age, our cells become more delicate, our joints stiffer, and our bodies far less forgiving of the fats we consume. Margarine isn't just a butter substitute. It's a product of industrial chemistry. Made by bombarding oils with hydrogen to extend shelf life and mimic butter's creamy texture, it creates trans fats, compounds so harmful they've been banned in many countries. These fats don't simply pass through the body. They disrupt inflammation control, harden arteries like rust in old pipes, and block the absorption of key nutrients needed for strength and recovery. Now imagine this. You spread margarine on toast or melt it into a pan for your morning eggs. The heat transforms those unstable fats into something even more destructive, releasing oxidative stress, a storm of molecular damage that quietly erodes collagen in your joints, narrows blood vessels in your legs, and accelerates aging from the inside out. For seniors, the results are often unmistakable: tingling or numbness in the feet, legs that fatigue too quickly, and a creeping stiffness that makes even simple movements feel heavier than before. A cold heaviness in the legs, a dull ache in the calves after a short walk, or those sudden nighttime cramps that jolt you awake. Too often, these signs are brushed off as part of getting older or blamed on poor circulation. But what if the real culprit has been right in front of you all along, spread across your toast or sizzling in your skillet each morning? The damage doesn't come suddenly. It builds silently over years. A slow betrayal that leaves you wondering why your body no longer moves the way it used to. This is no longer just about cholesterol, that outdated marker from decades past. It's about inflammation, the slow-burning fire that fuels stiffness, pain, and fatigue. It's about protecting your ability to climb stairs without discomfort. to enjoy a walk in the park without feeling drained, and to preserve the independence you've worked so hard to maintain. Now that the truth about margarine has come to light, an important question remains: how can you still enjoy your morning eggs, those comforting, nourishing staples, without inviting hidden harm onto your plate? The good news is, there are better, safer choices within reach. With a few mindful swaps, your breakfast can once again become a source of strength and lasting vitality. So, let's take a closer look at why these food combinations can be so dangerous for seniors, and how to protect your health moving forward. The breakfasts many of us have loved for decades, eggs beside sizzling bacon, golden toast spread with margarine, a touch of melted cheese, or a spoonful of jam, carry with them a deep sense of nostalgia and comfort. They remind us of family mornings, laughter around the table, and the simple pleasure of a warm meal. Yet for seniors, these familiar pairings can quietly become dangerous companions, paving the way for chronic inflammation that slowly chips away at health and mobility. Once inflammation takes hold, it doesn't shout. It whispers through aching legs that weaken mid-step, joints that swell and resist movement, and the morning stiffness that greets you before the day even begins. Over time, these small struggles add up, turning independence into effort and freedom into frustration. The danger lies not only in the foods themselves, but in how they interact within an aging body. Metabolism slows, digestion becomes less efficient, and the ability to process fats, sugars, and additives declines like a filter long overdue for cleaning. What once felt like a harmless indulgence in your 40s can, decades later, trigger days of lingering pain. Inside, a storm brews. Blood sugar surges, uric acid rises, and inflammation spreads. The processed fats in margarine stiffen arteries, while the sodium and nitrates in bacon strain the heart and joints, creating a chain reaction that the body can no longer easily fight off. Your heart and kidneys work tirelessly, yet that familiar breakfast may be demanding more than they can handle. Refined carbs from toast send your blood sugar soaring, straining an aging pancreas, while the cheese or sweet jam you enjoy adds even more fuel to the inflammatory fire. For younger bodies, these effects might fade by midday, but for seniors, the consequences linger. The stiffness in your knees, the ache in your hips, or that tingling in your feet that won't go away may all trace back to what's been on your plate each morning. The saddest part is how easily these signs are dismissed, blamed on age, the weather, or a poor night's sleep, while the real culprit quietly hides in plain sight. Yet, here's the good news. This isn't irreversible. You have more control over your health than you might think. Those same meals that once caused discomfort can become tools for healing with just a few smart adjustments. You don't need to give up eggs or the comfort of a warm breakfast. You simply need to choose better companions for them. Because when you replace harmful pairings with nourishing ones, each bite begins to build strength instead of pain. Each morning becomes lighter, more energizing, and more freeing. That's where true change begins, one mindful meal at a time. Eggs are a true gift of nature, packed with high-quality protein that supports thinning muscles, rich in choline to keep your memory sharp, and gentle on a digestive system that's grown more sensitive with age. They've long been a quiet constant, a comforting reminder of mornings past. But in your later years, getting the most from them isn't just about how you cook them. It's about what you serve alongside them. The right combinations can calm inflammation, ease aching joints, and help preserve the mobility that keeps you active and independent. So, let's rethink your breakfast. Instead of processed meats like bacon or sausage, loaded with salt, nitrates, and unhealthy fats, turn to nature's vibrant palette. Leafy greens such as spinach, kale, or arugula, lightly sautéed in a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, bring powerful antioxidants and minerals that support bone health and reduce inflammation. Their subtle bitterness beautifully complements the richness of eggs, creating both balance and nourishment. If you crave something creamy, Swap out processed cheese for avocado. Its smooth texture and heart-healthy monounsaturated fats nourish your joints and help lower cholesterol without any trans fats or additives. And for a wholesome carb, skip the white toast or bagel that quickly turns into sugar in your bloodstream. Instead, try roasted sweet potatoes or quinoa. Both offer steady energy, fiber, and nutrients that keep your body strong and your blood sugar stable. Even the way you cook your eggs matters. Choose steaming, poaching, or light pan frying with olive or coconut oil. Healthy fats that stay stable under heat and protect your body from unnecessary inflammation. Leave the margarine and artificial spreads behind. They don't belong on your plate anymore. The secret is simple. Choose foods close to the earth, whole, natural, and unprocessed. These aren't sacrifices. They're upgrades. Small, mindful changes that honor your body's needs without taking away the joy of eating. You're not losing flavor. You're trading short-term comfort for lasting vitality. Your legs, hips, and knees have carried you through a lifetime. They deserve better than bacon grease or sugary jam. Food has the power to harm, but it also has the power to heal. A breakfast made with intention becomes an investment in your strength, stability, and lighter mornings filled with energy. At this stage of life, every choice matters. Each step, each breath, each bite shapes your days ahead. Food isn't just fuel, it's communication. With every meal, you're sending your body a message. It can whisper renewal or shout inflammation. For too long, combinations like eggs with bacon, buttered toast, cheese, or sweet spreads have spoken the language of stiffness and fatigue to the joints and muscles that carry you forward. But experience has taught me that comfort can be deceptive. I too once believed that what felt familiar was safe, until my own body told me otherwise. Now, I view every meal as a bridge between yesterday and tomorrow, a chance to honor where I've been while shaping the health I want to keep. Smarter choices at the breakfast table have led to fewer pills, fewer aches, and fewer days wondering why my knees throb or my feet feel heavy. If you've been battling unexplained pain, swollen joints, or lingering fatigue, it might be time to take a closer look at your breakfast, not as a habit to maintain, but as an opportunity to heal. Eggs can still be your ally, a steadfast friend, when you choose their companions with care. Your body is always listening, always responding, ready for a new script. It's never too late to let food fight for you instead of against you. Let breakfast become a quiet rebellion against pain, a promise to your hips, knees, and feet that you're still in the game, still choosing life, mobility, and freedom at 60, 70, 80, and beyond. Your plate holds more power than you realize, and so do you. There you have it. A clearer look at how the foods paired with eggs can support health or quietly undermine it as we age. We've covered 6 surprising combinations to avoid and shared smarter, tastier ways to enjoy breakfast without inviting inflammation or pain. What's one insight that stuck with you? Perhaps a swap you'll try tomorrow morning? Share one change you plan to make in the comments so we can learn from each other and stay accountable on this path to better health. Wishing you abundant health, happiness, and peace. And remember to subscribe to my Healthy Aging Blueprint channel.